Hey, Tony Gas is here, popping in. Now, another video. Now, we are still in our series, and I want to talk to you about communicating in a relationship, how to communicate in a relationship. Now, this is something that is very important. Y'all get on up there to mymentor.life. If you are a coach or consultant, then you can sign up to be on there and meet clients. If you need a coach, then get on there, because my books are closed right now, my coaching book. So get on there, mymentor.life. My dad is on there, my mentees on there, some of my clients are coaches as well. So great selection of coaches and therapists on there. Just read everybody's bio, see who the right fit for you. But when it comes to communication in a relationship, first things first, you have to remember my quote. Write this down in your notebook. Keep this with you forever. Communication to a relationship is like oxygen to life. Communication to a relationship is like oxygen to life. So if you hold your breath right now, how long can you go without breathing? And if you don't breathe, what happens? It dies. So at the end of that quote, I have on some versions of it, you'll see it. It'll say, without it, it dies. You cannot have a healthy relationship if you don't communicate. With communication, it's all about being upfront, being timely, being direct, staying it. Y'all got to forgive me. My wife. Oh, gotta forgive me. My wife checking on me. Make sure I don't need nothing to eat. And we still on a video marathon now. I'm shoot all these videos in one day. And if you're in the Blessed Tribe, I plan to shoot a Blessed Tribe review. It probably only have to be an hour tonight, because, we got to pack and stuff for our trip. So, but that'll come out on Friday night. So expect the Pot Balloon review videos to be on Friday nights. The new one that's coming out, I won't be able to review that one yet until I get back in town. So this one from that week, when I'm gone, I get it next week, and it may come out on Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that. So the thing with communication, what you have to realize is it's a non-negotiable. And there's a lot of men who don't like to communicate in relationships, and there's some women who don't like to communicate in relationships. And if you don't like to communicate, you're not really fit for a relationship. And it doesn't mean that you can't be in a relationship, that you can't have a relationship, but it does mean that you need to work on growing. You need to work on evolving as a person and learning how to express yourself. Some people express themselves with a look. Some people express themselves with silence. Some people express themselves with distance. But the best way to communicate is in a time of peace. Not when everything blows up, not when you angry, not when you mad. In a time of peace, that's when you express yourself. And you express yourself in that time of peace fully. But here's the thing. Healthy communication means that you're not yelling, you're not cursing, you're not name calling, you're not shutting down, you're not over talking, you're not storming off, you're not threatening or anything of the sort. So a lot of times what we do is we'll threaten. We'll threaten, and we'll be like, I'm a divorce. I'm gonna divorce you. I'm gonna leave you. This happened again. I'm done. I'm through. And we'll do that, and it'll end up costing us. Y'all forgive me. I'm a little bit of a lemon perfect here. And so you got to think about that. If every single time you go to communicate, you threaten your partner that you're going to leave and then you stay, now you selling wolf tickets. You're a liar. You're a fraud. You're a manipulator. And you're abusive. So you can't threaten. You obviously, for obvious reasons, shouldn't yell. It heightens the situation. It intensifies the situation. And it can lead to some furniture moving. Meaning things getting physical and getting out of hand. The other thing what you want to think about is you don't want to get to a place to where you are cursing, because cursing is connected to what? Whenever somebody is cursing, they are either being ignorant or foolish, or they're angry. Think about when you don't curse. You don't curse when you have intelligence and you're in a formal situation. So if you're giving a presentation at work, you don't curse if you're intelligent and mature. If you're not intelligent and mature and confident, then you'll curse at any time. Think about giving a sermon at church. You don't curse. The reason why you don't curse is because of the brevity of the presentation, the brevity of the situation. Now, I don't know what brevity means, but it sounds good, so that's why I put it right there. So we'll see. And you taking it serious. So if you sit down and you talking and you doing a bunch of cursing while you trying to communicate a point, your point is lost. Now it is a moot point, because it either means you ignorant, you angry, or you not serious. So you could be serious, but if you angry, the message is lost. It falls on deaf ears because now you're intensifying the situation. Cursing is fighting words, so you don't want to use cursing. You don't want to use name calling for obvious reasons. You don't want to storm off for obvious reasons, because for one, you shutting down. You also don't want to shut down. So you want to take turns talking. Speak in room tone, and you use I feel statements. I feel like. I feel like. You also never use words like never or always, because most likely it's not true. And it gives your spouse something to hang their hat on, an area to attack, and a reason to shut down, because you just lied on them. Because you said they never do this or they always do this. And they could think of, even if it's just one time, that they didn't do or they did what you say they did do or didn't do. And they said, that's not true. Now they shut down. Whole point is lost. So don't use terms like never or always. And in a time of peace, you prepare for war. My father taught me that. So what that means is, you don't want to bring up a tough conversation at dinner, because your spouse could start talking loud. Even if y'all talking low, your faces, 70% of communication is nonverbal. So your faces tell that the conversation is tense. So you never want to have a serious conversation at dinner. See, a lot of times people who don't like confrontation and people who are not good communicators will bring up something like that in a place in front of people, so that they can have some backing, some protection, and will bring something up and try to do it in front of people, because it makes the communication more direct, more subtle, more straightforward. And so for a person that's not a good communicator, that's where they want that situation. So like they'll confront you like in front of their parents, in front of their siblings, in front of their friends. Not to where they can hear you, but just to where you can't get loud, you can't get irate. Like, you can't get angry, you can't storm off, you can't do nothing. You got to stay in that box because you're around people. And that's an immature tactic. It's also a dangerous tactic because it can get you embarrassed. It also can be seen as you are upstaging your spouse and boyfriend, girlfriend, and it can be seen as very disrespectful, and it can get you left. So when it comes to communication, you want to have it either on the phone, on FaceTime, on audio, or in person if you are sure that you're not with an abusive type of person. Then you can have that conversation in person. And this is important because if you don't communicate, and this is one of the things that's very interesting to me from women. Women will always say to me, they'll be like, Tony, how do I tell a guy this? And I'm like, you just tell him. You just tell him, because you talking to a man. You ain't talking to God. You talking to a man. Meaning, and when I say just tell him, I mean, you just tell him. Like, directly, you say what needs to be said, but you don't say it in front of anybody else to where it's going to embarrass him or upstage him. You don't yell it. You don't curse with it. You don't disrespect them, but you just tell them. So you tell them, like, hey, I'm not ready for that yet. Like, I'm not ready to sleep with you. Like, we're not there yet. We're building, and we're not there yet, and I don't know when I'll be there. And he's like, what you mean you don't know when? How long it's gonna take? I don't know how long it's gonna take, but I'm not there yet. Like, we just not there. And so if that's what you want and that's where you feel we are, I mean, that says a lot about you and where your mindset is. But it's like, do you like me, or do you just like sex? Do you want me, or do you just want to sleep with me? And the more, like, blunt and real you are, without being loud and ignorant and obnoxious and disrespectful, the more a man will respect a woman. And vice versa. Same thing with a man talking to a woman. If you real and you blunt and you direct, it doesn't mean that a sensitive person isn't going to get their feelings hurt. Don't mean that they're not going to get their feelings hurt, but at least they're going to know where you at, where you stand. And whether you want them to or not, it's going to make them respect you because you real. You raw, you blunt, you open, you direct. And also what you have to realize is communication styles are different. You're rarely going to have two people that communicate the same way. So if you are the communicator in a relationship, be okay with that. Don't feel like you being slighted, or it's the end of the world that your person doesn't communicate on the level that you communicate in the way that you communicate. And so you have to seek to understand. I read it in Stephen R. Covey's book. It says, seek to understand, then be understood. And with that, what I mean by that is you want to get to a place to where you take and you try to figure out, like, okay, my person like to talk a lot. So we need to be like behind closed doors, nowhere to go, nothing to do. And I need to engage. I need to ask questions. I need to articulate my thoughts and feelings, because this could easily be an hour to 3 hour conversation. So learn that about your person and prepare yourself mentally and emotionally, condition yourself for it. And the other thing that you want to do y'all forgive me texting my wife, is if it's the other way around. If you have someone who is just very succinct, they're very direct, they don't like confrontation, they don't like to argue, it may even be best to send what you need to say in a text message, because it may not be interpersonally confrontational. And y'all, let it be putting words together. they'll be saying stuff how I want to say it. So understand that. Never heard of interpersonally confrontational before, but we done came up with it. And so y'all forgive me. And now some folks get on here and get blocked when I be texting my wife. But I need you to realize that she come first. She out and about. She driving. And so this ain't about you. So get out your feelings. And don't get them comments about that. And so if you got somebody that's like that, just be straight to the point. Straight to, hey, I didn't appreciate when you did that or when you said that, and that's not cool. So let's nix that. Let's not do that again. They be like, what? Okay. What? I did what? When you did this right here, so this blah 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 blah. Oh, well, all right. Okay, I apologize. Boom. That's it. That's it. If you got somebody like that's how they is, be done with it. You said, you spoke your piece. Now, if you have to say it a second time, a third time, a fourth time, now we starting to have a problem. Now you starting to see that this person either is slow at learning, or they don't respect you, or it's just so ingrained in them they can't change. And at that point, I would say by the third time, if it's like a deal breaker, like disrespectful what you communicating about, you gotta leave. You gotta leave. But your communication, it has to be consistent. It has to be clear. Like, you gotta have clarity, and you gotta have consequences. And all of that goes into communication. You can't be afraid to speak truth to power. But what you have to do in healthy communication is you got to communicate with yourself. Meaning, you're going to have to analyze your heart and analyze yourself. And you're going to have to look within and internally try to see, like, what am I communicating about? Why am I communicating about this? How serious do I feel about this? Is this fair? Is this legitimate? Am I operating from insecurity? Am I operating from fear? Because some people want to communicate about stuff that don't need to be communicated about. So don't abuse communication, or you will lose communication. You got to make sure that you're being honest, that you're being real. And if you're doing that, then you're doing the right thing. Oh, it's a game tonight. Oh, and it's right now. So I'm gonna have to get on off here now. So I was a speaker for the Top 100 camp, which is a high school, top 100 high school players for 6 years. And at that camp, one of my players that was on my team, because each mentor get a team, is Jalen Brunson. And he plays for the Knicks. He was on my team and in my group. So what that meant is, like, I was his mentor at that camp for that week. And him and 10, 12 other guys on the team. And so we would have speakers, and then after the speaker is done, we go into like a room and we sit down and we talk about it. He was real quiet though, so I don't really remember much of what he said or if he said anything, but I remember watching him play and being around him and talking to him while he was playing. And we kept in touch over the years on Twitter. And he would answer questions for me for some of my other mentees who's in college. And so it's kind of cool to see somebody that just stayed the course and make it. And on the Pacers, Tony Bradley, who I know because he's from Polk County. So he's from Bartow, Florida. And he's on the Pacers. He got hurt last game, so I don't know if he's going to play this game. But so I have a personal connection on both teams, so it's kind of cool to, watch this here little series. And let me see this. Okay, so this game 6. Oh yeah, this game 6, so they're gonna have another game, unless the Pacers win. Okay, I see. So I want you to get that in your spirit. Don't be afraid to communicate. Don't be afraid to not communicate when you don't need to communicate. Don't be afraid to not over communicate, but understand that you have to nip it in the bud. It got to be done from the beginning, out the gate, and you got to stick with it. Because if you don't, your relationship is going to fall apart. So, hey, this Tony Gaskins. Sorry, this one a little shorter. Not as if I have to repeat the same thing or whatever, I don't keep going. Not just don't want to talk to be talking. But God bless you. Make sure you got your notebook, your pen and your pad, taking notes on these videos. Watch the whole series again if you were driving or sleeping, and take you some good notes, because this really is the whole cheat code. You really may not realize it, that this is the reason for our 18-year successful marriage, that I believe God will go on for the rest of our life. So understand that and realize this ain't just fluff. I ain't blowing smoke now. It's real deal talk. And if you take these lessons with you, it can really help you. It can bless you. So, hey, this Tony Gaskins. All the important links is in the description. God bless you. We'll talk soon.